Florida Atlantic Owls versus Navy Midshipmen. In a pivotal American Athletic Conference showdown, the resurgent Florida Atlantic Owls, 3-4, 2-2 AAC, travel to Annapolis to face the undefeated Navy Midshipmen, 6-0, 4-0 AAC. The matchup pits a Navy team surging toward a conference title against a Florida Atlantic squad fighting to stay afloat in the standings. Navy enters as the clear favorite, owning an 83.3% win probability, while Florida Atlantic looks to pull off a season-defining upset against one of college football's most disciplined teams. At the center of this contest is the quarterback contrast. Navy's Blake Horvath has been efficient and balanced, passing for 980 yards while adding 640 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground. His dual-threat ability has been the heartbeat of a Navy offense that thrives on rhythm and control. On the other side, Florida Atlantic's Carter Veldkamp has racked up 2,025 yards through the air with 15 touchdowns, but has been inconsistent under pressure, as shown in the Owls' recent blowout loss to South Florida. If Veldkamp finds early rhythm, FAU's vertical passing game could challenge Navy's secondary, but Horvath's composure and versatility remain the X factor. The offensive supporting cast further defines the matchup. Florida Atlantic's Edrine Messer has emerged as a reliable downfield weapon, tallying 560 yards and a touchdown, while Gerald Sands anchors the ground game with 308 rushing yards. Navy counters with Eli Heidenreich, who leads the midshipmen with 485 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns, providing the deep strike threat that complements Horvath's short yardage power runs. Navy's balance between explosive plays and ball control has made them lethal in late-game situations. Recent trends heavily favor Navy. The midshipmen have outlasted opponents in every contest, including tight victories over Air Force, 34-31, and Temple, 32-31, proving their ability to win under pressure. Florida Atlantic, meanwhile, has dropped 3 of its last 5, including a demoralizing 48-13 defeat to South Florida, though a 53-33 win over UAB showed the Owls' offensive ceiling when momentum swings their way. In the standings, Navy sits atop the AAC at 4-0, eyeing an unbeaten run toward the conference crown, while Florida Atlantic sits in the middle of the pack at 2-2, still fighting for bowl eligibility. Defensively, Navy's Logan Robinson, 5 sacks, and Makai Parker, 52 tackles, headline a front 7 that could wreak havoc on FAU's pocket protection. The Owls' Cameron Doggett Jr. and Troy Stalsky bring energy on defense, but face a daunting task against Navy's relentless ground attack. Ultimately, the matchup may hinge on 2 things: Navy's ability to control tempo and FAU's capacity to hit explosive plays early. If Veldkamp connects with Messer downfield, the Owls could make it interesting, but Navy's disciplined execution and defensive consistency give them the edge. Expect Horvath to lead long, punishing drives and Navy's defense to tighten in the second half. Prediction: Navy 35, Florida Atlantic 20. The midshipmen stay perfect while FAU shows flashes of fight but falls short against a superior, well-drilled opponent. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Navy midshipmen winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Western Michigan Broncos versus Miami, OH Redhawks. The Mid-American Conference race tightens as Western Michigan, 4-3, 3-0 MAC, travels to Oxford to face Miami, OH, 4-3, 4-0 MAC, in a pivotal showdown that could shape the conference standings. Both teams enter Week 9 riding momentum and aiming to seize control of the MAC race. The Redhawks have been efficient and steady under quarterback D. Finn, while the Broncos have surged behind a balanced attack led by B. Lowry. With only 1 game separating them in overall record and both trending upward, this matchup carries heavy postseason implications. Western Michigan's offense has been rejuvenated by Lowry's dual threat capabilities. The junior quarterback has thrown for 992 yards with 5 touchdowns and just 1 interception, while adding 427 rushing yards and 7 scores on the ground. His ability to extend plays will be tested by Miami's aggressive front, led by linebacker A-Trick, who has tallied 5.5 sacks. For the Redhawks, Finn has mirrored Lowry's efficiency, compiling 997 passing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns while protecting the ball with only 5 interceptions. The battle between these quarterbacks, each capable of moving the chains through the air or on the ground, sets up as a chess match of tempo and poise. On the perimeter, Miami's Kay Perry has emerged as Finn's go-to target, recording 514 yards and 3 touchdowns on 18 receptions, giving the Redhawks a true deep threat. Western Michigan counters with T. Williams, whose 284 yards and 2 touchdowns have come in crucial moments, often extending drives when Lowry scrambles. Defensively, the Broncos have relied on N. Tucker's dominance off the edge, 8.5 sacks, and linebacker S. Saipaya Jr., who anchors the middle with 36 tackles. Miami's defense, meanwhile, leans on E. Blakey's 53 tackles and leadership in the secondary, helping limit explosive plays. Recent trends favor Miami, Ohio, which has won 4 straight, including decisive victories over Eastern Michigan, 44-30, and Akron, 20-7. Western Michigan has also caught fire, taking 3 of its last 4, highlighted by a 42-0 shutout over Ball State and a 21-3 defensive statement against Massachusetts. The Broncos' only recent stumble came against Illinois, but their response has been impressive. In the standings, Miami, Ohio, sits tied atop the MAC East, while Western Michigan leads the West, making this not just a cross-divisional clash, but a potential conference championship preview. With Buffalo lurking in the standings, a win here could position either team as the frontrunner for December contention. Depth and endurance could decide this one. Western Michigan's pass rush rotation has kept fresh legs in late drives, but Miami's defensive backfield depth could counter the Broncos' spread attack. Neither side reports major injuries, giving both full arsenals heading into Saturday's contest. Expect turnovers and red zone execution to be the defining factors. If Lowry can avoid pressure and hit Williams in stride, Western Michigan could control tempo. Conversely, Finn's composure and Perry's explosiveness give Miami the edge in high-leverage moments. Prediction: Miami, Ohio, 27, Western Michigan, 24. The Redhawks' defensive consistency and home field composure should narrowly outlast Western's relentless offense, though expect a nail-biter that could go down to the final drive. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Miami, Ohio, Redhawks winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. TCU Horned Frogs versus West Virginia Mountaineers. The Big 12 spotlight shifts to Morgantown as the TCU Horned Frogs, 5-2, 2-2 Big 12-12, visit the West Virginia Mountaineers, 2-5, 0-4 Big 12, in a clash that pits a program fighting to stay in conference contention against one desperate to salvage a disappointing campaign. TCU enters as the favorite, holding an 81.7% win probability, but the unpredictable nature of Milan Puskar Stadium and the Mountaineers' fight for their first conference win make this matchup more dangerous than it appears on paper. With TCU looking to rebound from early Big 12 stumbles and West Virginia playing spoiler, the stakes are high for both squads. Quarterback play headlines this battle. TCU's Josh Hoover has quietly emerged as one of the league's most efficient passers, throwing for 2,124 yards and 16 touchdowns while completing 61% of his passes. His command of the Horned Frogs' balanced offense has allowed TCU to spread the field effectively. On the other side, West Virginia's Nico Marchiol has shown flashes of promise with 720 passing yards and 2 touchdowns, though inconsistency and turnovers have hampered his rhythm. If Marchiol can limit mistakes against a disciplined TCU defense, the Mountaineers could keep the game close deep into the second half. TCU's offensive rhythm thrives on its ground game, led by Kendrell Barnes, who's logged 391 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. Barnes's north-south running style opens up opportunities for wideout Imani McAllister, whose 603 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns make him a top threat in the conference. West Virginia counters with running back K.J. Wilkins, who's tallied 243 rushing yards and 3 scores, and receiver Cortez Vaughn, who's produced 335 yards and 3 touchdowns. But WVU's offensive line must protect Marchiol from TCU linebacker Kamari Alarms-Orr, who leads the Horned Frogs with 64 tackles and 3 sacks. Momentum favors TCU, which has won 4 of its last 5 games, including a decisive 42-36 victory over Baylor. The Horned Frogs' lone blemish came in a 28-14 loss to Kansas State, highlighting the team's need for offensive consistency against physical defenses. West Virginia, meanwhile, is mired in a 4-game losing streak, most recently falling 45-13 to UCF. Home field advantage has offered limited relief, and the Mountaineers' defense has struggled to contain explosive plays, yielding 40 or more points in 3 of their last 4 contests. In the standings, TCU remains within striking distance of the Big 12's upper tier, trailing the likes of BYU and Cincinnati. A win in Morgantown keeps the Horned Frogs alive in the race for a top 4 finish, while West Virginia faces an uphill battle to avoid the conference cellar alongside Oklahoma State. For the Mountaineers, Saturday represents an opportunity to reset their season and build confidence heading into November. The X factors lie in TCU's red zone execution and West Virginia's ability to pressure Hoover. If Alarms-Orr and the Horned Frogs' defense dictate tempo early, TCU could turn this into a rout. Conversely, if Marchiol connects with Vaughn on early deep shots and the Mountaineers control time of possession, an upset could brew. Expect TCU's balance, depth, and defensive speed to prevail, though not without a fight. Prediction: TCU 38, West Virginia 24, the Horned Frogs' offensive versatility and defensive discipline should overpower a scrappy but inconsistent Mountaineer squad. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is TCU Horned Frogs winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns versus Troy Trojans. The Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns head to Troy for a pivotal Sun Belt showdown against the surging Troy Trojans, a matchup that pits a struggling program searching for answers against one of the West Division's steadiest contenders. Louisiana enters at 2-5 overall and 1-2 in the Sun Belt, having dropped consecutive games to Southern Miss and James Madison. Troy, on the other hand, rides a wave of momentum at 5-2 overall and 3-0 in conference play, sitting just behind division leader Southern Miss in a tight race for the top. For the Trojans, this game represents an opportunity to solidify their championship credentials, while the Ragin' Cajuns aim to salvage pride and prove they can compete with the league's elite. Quarterback play will be critical. Louisiana's L. Winfield has endured an up-and-down campaign, passing for 484 yards with 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. His efficiency has been inconsistent behind a shaky offensive line, forcing the Cajuns to rely heavily on the ground game. Running back Z. Perry has been the offensive anchor, producing 466 yards and 5 touchdowns on 72 carries, a bright spot in an otherwise erratic offense. For Troy, quarterback T. Kilcrease provides a steady veteran presence, having thrown for 1,054 yards with 9 touchdowns and only 2 picks on 80 completions. His poise and chemistry with top receiver T. Taylor, who has hauled in 15 passes for 330 yards and 3 touchdowns, give the Trojans a balanced and explosive passing attack. Running back T. Meadows complements that through physicality, tallying 498 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. Defensively, Troy has the edge in disruption and discipline. Edge rusher D. Smith's 4.5 sacks lead a unit that consistently pressures quarterbacks, while linebacker Jay Stringer anchors the middle with 65 tackles. Louisiana's front, led by Jay Kreider, 1.5 sacks, and linebacker Jay Duggar, 68 tackles, has shown flashes but often tires late due to extended time on the field. The Cajuns' defense will need a near-perfect performance to contain Troy's multifaceted offense. Recent form underscores the contrast in direction. Troy has won 3 straight, including a 37-14 rout of UL Monroe and a gritty 31-24 victory over South Alabama. Louisiana has dropped 4 of its last 5, struggling offensively and managing just 10 points in each of its last 2 outings. With Southern Miss and Troy both sitting at 3-0 in division play, the Trojans can't afford a slip-up if they hope to keep pace in the Sun Belt West. For Louisiana, this is about halting a slide and finding rhythm before the season's final stretch. The X factors lie in the trenches and turnover battle. If Perry can establish early rushing momentum, Louisiana might slow the pace and shorten the game. But if Troy's front 7 pressures Winfield and forces him into mistakes, the Trojans' offensive balance could turn this into a runaway. Expect Kilcrease's experience and Taylor's big play ability to stretch Louisiana's secondary early and often. Prediction: Troy's efficiency, defensive consistency, and depth at skill positions give it a decisive edge. Louisiana may keep it close early, but the Trojans' poise and physicality should prevail. Expect Troy to control the second half and extend its win streak with a 31-13 victory, maintaining momentum in the Sun Belt title race. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Troy Trojans winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Colorado State Rams versus Wyoming Cowboys. The border war is back, and it carries more than bragging rights this time. When the Colorado State Rams travel to Laramie to face the Wyoming Cowboys, both teams will be fighting to keep their seasons alive in a tightly packed Mountain West. Wyoming enters at 3-4 overall, 1-2 in conference, looking to rebound from a narrow 24-21 loss to Air Force. Colorado State, sitting at 2-5, 1-2 MWC, is desperate to regain rhythm after a 31-19 home defeat to Hawaii. While Boise State and San Diego State have separated themselves atop the standings, this game could mark a turning point for 2 proud programs caught between rebuilding and contending. At quarterback, Wyoming's Kay Anderson gives the Cowboys a clear upper hand in experience and production. Anderson has thrown for 1,480 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions, completing 130 of 221 passes. His composure under pressure and ability to hit receivers like C. Durr Jr. on deep routes have been vital to Wyoming's offensive rhythm. Durr, with 331 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns on 30 receptions, has become Anderson's go-to weapon in big moments. Across the field, Colorado State's Jay Brousseau is still searching for consistency. He's totaled 741 passing yards and 6 touchdowns this season, showing flashes of promise, but struggling behind a protection unit that's allowed too many pressures. For Brousseau, success will depend on quick reads and his chemistry with top wideout A. Winfield, who's contributed 261 yards and 2 scores on 19 catches. Winfield's speed after the catch could be Colorado State's best shot at breaking open Wyoming's secondary. On the ground, both sides feature reliable running backs capable of carrying the offensive load. The Rams' Jay Dupree leads with 429 yards and 2 touchdowns on 83 carries, combining power and agility to grind out tough yards. Wyoming's S. Harris, who's tallied 398 yards and a touchdown on 69 carries, thrives in between-the-tackles situations and will be crucial in controlling time of possession. Expect Wyoming to lean on Harris early, testing Colorado State's front 7 and wearing down its linebackers. Defensively, both units boast high-motor players but differ in identity. Colorado State linebacker O. Long is a tackling machine with 93 stops, leading a defense that plays with aggression but struggles to finish drives. Defensive back J. Joe has added 2.5 sacks, showing Colorado State's willingness to blitz from the secondary. However, the Rams have been vulnerable against balanced offenses, allowing over 30 points in 4 of their last 5 contests. Wyoming, meanwhile, features a more disruptive defensive line led by B. Florentine with 5 sacks and linebacker B. Johnson, who's tallied 42 tackles. Their ability to collapse pockets and stuff the run could force Brousseau into hurried throws, a scenario that has plagued Colorado State throughout the year. Momentum entering this matchup slightly favors Wyoming. The Cowboys have been competitive even in losses, defeating San Jose State 35-28 and playing Air Force down to the wire. At home, their physical style tends to intensify, especially in the thin Laramie air. Colorado State, conversely, has shown volatility. A 49-21 win over Fresno State showcased their offensive ceiling, but double-digit losses to San Diego State, Washington State, and Hawaii highlighted their inconsistency. From a standings perspective, this matchup carries quiet postseason implications. Both teams remain mathematically alive for bowl eligibility, but the loser will face an uphill battle needing to win nearly out. For Wyoming, a victory steadies a rocky mid-season stretch and reinforces their defensive identity. For Colorado State, a road win in Laramie would be a momentum builder, signaling progress in a season defined by close calls and uneven performances. The X factors will revolve around efficiency and composure. If Anderson continues to protect the football and exploit mismatches against the Rams' secondary, Wyoming should control tempo. For Colorado State, success hinges on Dupree establishing the ground game early to open play-action lanes for Brousseau. Special teams could also swing momentum. Field position and kicking consistency often decide rivalry games played at altitude. This border war should be tight and physical. Wyoming's balance, defensive grit, and home field edge give it a slight upper hand over a Colorado State team still finding its rhythm. Expect both defenses to deliver big hits, but the Cowboys' steadier quarterback play should prove the difference. Prediction: Wyoming 27, Colorado State 20. The Cowboys protect their home turf and inch closer to bowl contention, while the Rams are left searching for answers in a season running short on opportunities. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Wyoming Cowboys winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box.